Hi everyone, welcome back to Herky the Cavaliers channel. I'm here today with Herky, Milton, and we have two very special guests today. This is Jessica and this is Aria. They are our friends from Instagram, and it's been like almost a year since we met in LA, right? So I'll be linking the video up here, but we connected in January of last year for the first time in person, so it's almost been a year that we didn't see each other.
It's crazy.
Anyway,
so much has happened.
I know. Oh yeah, you moved to Omaha in the meantime. Like,
who does that? I
do. She used to live in DC, and she has family in LA, so that's how we met. But originally, I think we connected through, I think you were a client.
Yeah, I was. I was asking about, I wanted to get a coat for her when she was still a puppy because you had a sale. I was like, what size is Milton? I bet Aria will be Milton's size. And then she wasn't Milton's size.
I know, she just stayed tiny forever. So yeah, that's how we stayed in contact. And I think you were asking about spaying and everything. And then... Jessica and Aria are also on Instagram, and their account is really starting to grow. You have beautiful photos.
Oh, thank you so much.
I really like the photos you do of Aria. Like, she's so beautiful. She's very photogenic, and I just love the overall aesthetics of your photos. So I wanted to invite Jessica here on our channel today because Aria is a syringomyelia survivor, and I think this is an issue that touches a lot of Cavaliers, unfortunately. We've talked about this subject a couple times, but I've never had somebody with SM that has experienced SM and went through an extensive procedure with SM. So that's why it's perfect that we have Aria and Jessica with us today, because I think you've had a lot of experience with it, right? Sadly.
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah. Yes, we have.
So in the Instagram community, Jessica has kind of become like a resource person for SM. You've even started a group for SM.
One of the main reasons I really started to pick up on her Instagram was because I wanted to advocate for SM and let people know, because a lot of people who have Cavaliers don't always know. You know, they talk a lot about the heart issues, but not everyone talks about SM and understands what it actually means.
For sure.
And so I think it's really important to spread awareness so people know and know what signs to look for, because the signs are really weird.
I have so many questions for you today. This support group that you have, basically, it's a lot of people that have symptoms or diagnosis.
So I started two groups. They're group DMs on Instagram, and there's one that's just general Chiari malformation and syringomyelia kind of support and information for anyone who's interested or think their dog might have it and just wants to find out more about it. But then I have another one called the SM Warriors with dogs that are MRI diagnosed.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's kind of a safe space for us to talk. And I mean, there's been times when Aria, this one instance, she had a really bad episode in the middle of the night and I had no one to talk to. For sure. And I went in on that group, and there's people from all over the world. So there were people that were awake.
There's people all the time, right?
Yeah, and it's just helpful because they get it.
For sure, for sure. As I mentioned, she lives in Omaha now, and there's not any specialists that can even support you in this journey when you're out there, right?
Yep, there's no veterinary neurologist in all of Nebraska. So vets out there, please become veterinary neurologists and go to Nebraska.
What's fortunate with you is that your neurologist from DC has agreed to follow Aria in her journey.
Yeah, so I can email her or call with any questions. And recently, Aria kind of had a really bad flare-up, and she started having a lot of symptoms. So I contacted her neurologist, who is absolutely phenomenal.
Awesome.
She specializes in Cavaliers with SM and does research. Yeah, and she does research on them. She has a Cavalier who has SM, and she does tons of surgeries.
Okay, we're going to need her name and everything. I'm going to be linking it up here. Yes. I think she's a great resource.
Yes. Her name's Dr. Tallarico, and she's at VCA Southpaws in Virginia.
I'm going to start by the start and ask you if you can explain to us what is the correlation between Chiari malformation and then SM. We can remind everybody of what it is.
First of all, I want to say I'm not a veterinarian, so things that I might say are from my experience with SM and what I've learned through my research and from talking to other dogs, but I'm definitely not an authority figure at all. So the Chiari malformation, it means that their skull is too small to house their brain. And there's this kind of hole in the base of the skull called the foramen magnum. And the brain has multiple parts, but there's the bigger part of the brain here, and then there's the cerebellum, which is the smaller part down here. And in Chiari malformation, since it's too small, the only place for the brain to go is down through the foramen magnum. So the cerebellum pushes through the foramen magnum, and that compression of the cerebellum causes some odd kind of behaviors and some odd tics, but also with that, it changes the flow of cerebral spinal fluid from the brain down to the spine. And this creates pockets that they call syrinx along the spine, and that's syringomyelia. And those can cause nerve damage and pain. The biggest symptom is just pain. Awful pain.
And the symptoms, I think, are very scary for neurological like diseases, if I can call it that. I don't even have like the nerve to like look at these videos sometimes. Like I think I sent you one of those videos, and I only watched it on mute, but I sent it to you and you were like, that's SM. And I was like, that's terrible.
So is this.
Really?
Yeah, she has a lot of issues. Sorry, sweet. She has a lot of issues with her back legs. So part of the cerebellum in the brain helps with motor movements and kind of coordinating those motor movements. And Aria's SM is so severe, she has one big syrinx along her entire spine. Yeah, so as you mentioned, sometimes it's like little pockets along the spine, but hers is so severe that it's just one big pocket. Okay. So she has a lot of issues in her hind legs especially. And from what I've heard, because humans can have this as well, and so what I've heard from some humans that I've talked to that have it is that they have this feeling of tingly shooting pains down their limbs is one of the symptoms. Like a burning, almost like a burning tingling. And she gets it in her hind legs, so often she'll kind of nibble them like corn, up and down, and then sometimes get what they call ataxia, which is kind of uncoordinated movements in their hind legs. Okay. So she'll like trip and stuff. Okay, so other than those kind of symptoms, can you describe like other symptoms that somebody might want to notice in their cat, in their dogs? I would say the important thing to know is that a lot of the symptoms of SM are really similar to symptoms of other things. Okay. So that might be confusing. It's very confusing. Right. So there's two ways to look at that. One, keep your eye out because it could be SM, but also remember that it might not be. It could just be an ear infection, for example, because they like where she's doing right now. Yeah, and they scratch their ear a lot, or their head, or the back of their head. And with Herky, she's probably just itchy. You know, or she has something in her ear or something. But when Aria does it, it's obsessive. Just, and often does she do it for like a super extended period of time, or like often, like how frequently? And another sign that you see a lot that has to do with the scratching is when they're walking, it'll kick up. So she'll be walking, and then her back leg will be like, almost like it reminds me of Thumper in Bambi. Yeah. So she'll kind of do that in the middle of walking, which is kind of odd, and people just think, oh, like, the harness is bothering them. Yeah. You know, so it could be that. They could have skin allergies, and that's why they're chewing. So it could be a lot of different things. Or this glue ear is often confused. So it could be a lot of different things. And every dog presents differently and has different symptoms, but the common ones are the scratching is the big one. Oh, that's so cool. Glue ear or allergies, or their harness is itchy or something, or their collars is bothering them. Her thing is really weird, and I've seen other cat. I wonder if she just did it, but she has other calves that do it, but not a whole lot. So when she would do this when she was a puppy, and her back leg, she'll be laying like this, and all of a sudden her back leg just like kicks so hard, like harder than I've ever seen her kick normally. Really? And then it'll just keep kicking, and then she gets mad at it, and will start biting at it. Like, stop, I didn't tell you to kick. And I think it's just a twitch. Really? Yeah. That's so odd. And she would get it as a puppy, and I'm like, oh, isn't that silly? She's, chasing her leg. Oh, isn't that funny? And I didn't know, but that's her biggest symptom. She does that daily. So at what point do you think these kind of symptoms become a worry for the dog owner, and that they should try to consider, or they should start considering SM? That's such a hard question. I would say if you see the symptoms frequently, and if you notice a pattern, because SM has often triggered these kind of flare-ups or episodes, that's what I call it, have triggers. So hers, if it rains, guarantee she's gonna have symptoms. It's the pressure. Well, think about it. Do you ever get migraines? I get them really bad, and I get them whenever it rains. I get one. Seriously? Yeah. Okay. So some days we have we don't feel well at the same time. So yeah, you guys are all insane. It's adorable. I know. So that's one of them. That's one of hers. Anxiety is also one, and she has really bad separation anxiety, so that's a fun combo. So when her anxiety is bad, it's gonna flare up her SM? Yes. Okay. So she's on anxiety medicine now, which has helped, because then that decreases the kind of flare-ups from that. She also has trouble after anesthesia. So about a week after anesthesia, she'll have pretty bad flare-ups. See if you notice patterns, if it's happening all the time, like you can't get through a walk because the dog has to keep stopping and scratching.
Right.
So yelps of pain, that's also common.
Yeah.
Aria will, if you pick her up a certain way, she'll cry. And that's what we have trouble with strangers because they'll go
because they want to pick her up.
And then she'll
it hurts.
That's so annoying. So the yelping, the random yelps of pain out of nowhere, and she'd just yelp and run across the room like something bit her or something.
Oh.
It's really weird. So I'd say if you notice several symptoms, maybe not just the one, and if there's an increase in frequency and maybe some sort of pattern that you notice, they tend to get worse at night as well.
Really? Okay.
Another reason I would say that's worth doing is if you are worried about it. For peace of mind, especially if you have vet insurance. Yeah. Because I feel like as Cav owners, we all live in fear of SM.
Yeah. I think it's the worst thing that they can have. Yeah. It's super scary.
It's really scary. So I would recommend if you're just worried about it all the time and your insurance covers it,
like just do it.
Just do it.
For sure.
Because then you don't have to worry.
And so in your case, or in Aria's case, when did you start worrying about it, and when did you say, okay, I'm gonna go get her checked for SM?
When she was a puppy, she had all these weird GI issues, and she had giardia, and she had kennel cough as a young puppy, and she just kept getting sick, and she wasn't growing. And so the vet was concerned that she wasn't growing, and meanwhile she had all these other SM symptoms, but I didn't know that that's what they were. And so the vet did all of these tests, and then in the end I was like, we can't find anything. And I know the big thing with Cavaliers, there's the brain thing and the heart thing. Yeah. You know?
The brain thing, the heart thing.
Those are the ones you don't want.
Yeah.
So I said, do you think it's neurological? And then my vet thought, well, maybe. We're at an end. I don't know what else to check for. Let's just get a consult with neuro. And we went to the neurologist. And Dr. Tellerico walked in, and within a couple minutes, she's like, this dog is textbook SM. We need to MRI her today. And then after her MRI, she was diagnosed severe, and she said that Aria had been living in a 7 out of 10 on the pain scale since she was a puppy, probably. And I had no idea because she's so stoic. And she recommended the surgery that day. Really? The cranial decompression surgery. I thought about it, and since she was such a young puppy, I really wanted to give her the best chance at life, and I had insurance that would cover it.
Awesome.
So I said, you know what? Let's just do it.
Did you take the decision then and there? Like,
pretty much.
Really?
Yeah. I took a day, but I knew I had to do it for her.
So did you feel like a trust right away with that?
Oh, yeah.
With that vet? Okay.
For sure.
Okay. So you already knew that like whatever she would recommend would be the best interest.
Yeah, and she's so good. She just looked me in the eye and she's like, I'll fix your dog. Oh, so sweet. She's like, don't worry, I'll fix her.
Plus she has a Cavalier. Her Cavalier has SM and everything. So you really trusted her, right?
I really did.
So how long after that day did you book her in for the surgery?
As soon as I could, which was a couple weeks.
Okay. How is the whole like pre-op, post-op thing? Like how much time off do you have to like?
It's a big thing. So basically the dog has to be crated for 90% of the time or 95% of the time for 2 whole weeks. But Aria, with her separation anxiety, she can't tolerate a crate. So I had to, I'm very thankful my mom was awesome. It was over Thanksgiving, so I already had some time off. And my mom flew in and helped out. She's a huge Cavalier fan. So she's like,
I love her so much.
I know, she's so sweet. She comments on everything.
Yeah,
she's so sweet. And she came and helped us out. And what we did was we took, because they're not allowed to jump, no jumping at all. She couldn't jump, she couldn't run, nothing for 2 weeks. So we took the couch cushions and put them on the floor and put an X pen around them. And my mom and I slept on the couch cushions with Aria between us on the floor with the X pen for 2 weeks.
I love that. That's like the ultimate slumber party. Like how dedicated are you as a dog mom? I would do the same.
It was not that comfortable.
I bet, but you do it for them. By the way, I'm going to insert some like pretty graphic pictures of Aria post-op. But you see them in so much pain that you don't want to just isolate them in a little crate or like on the floor by themselves, you know? So I would totally do that too.
Yeah, I didn't want her to be alone and in pain and scared.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, because they shaved her whole head. She had this gigantic incision. It was scary looking and it was hard to see her that way, but they gave her so much pain medication that she was just...
she was like cross-eyed.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But she got better. It started feeling better pretty fast, and it was hard because I didn't want her chewing on hard bones or anything, but I could tell she was bored. I was supposed to carry them to the grass, let them potty, pick them up, put them back in the crate, basically.
So the surgery itself, what is it? It's cranial decompression.
Cranial decompression.
Is it the only surgery for SM dogs?
No. So with time, they've kind of evolved what they do, and they did this one where they would kind of take a shunt to relieve the pressure.
Okay.
But then that didn't always work, and my understanding was sometimes they move, and also Aria is a very small Cavalier, and she was too small for the shunt. They couldn't have even found a small enough one if they wanted to do that surgery. Yeah.
Okay.
The next one they started doing was they kind of remove they make the foramen magnum, that hole in the base of the brain, bigger. So they kind of shave away that bone, and also part of the C1 vertebrae to make more room.
Yeah.
And then what they found was happening was that scar tissue was forming in its place and basically undoing the surgery with time.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So they started putting in surgical mesh.
Yeah.
And when that was in place, then the scar tissue couldn't kind of come in.
Yeah.
But then with time, the dog grows, the dog changes, and the surgical mesh moves, and then you have to do the surgery again.
Okay.
So kind of the new surgery that they're doing now is they take muscular fascia, so just a piece of muscle.
Yeah.
They didn't do an extra incision or anything. It was from within the surgical site.
So that's what they did on her. Okay.
And they removed that piece of muscle from elsewhere and then put that piece of muscular fascia in kind of the space. So there's that there, and it's pliable and it can move, but it's not going to be that rigid scar tissue.
So they didn't make any like shaving of the bone on Aria at all?
They did, yes.
Oh, they did?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they made more room at the bottom of her skull, C1 vertebrae, and then they put muscle tissue.
So it doesn't form the scar tissue, is the idea.
Because it comes from their own body, so it it's not foreign?
I think so. And that's the one reason why you don't want them moving at all for 2 weeks. And I had to be really careful with her for a few months after, because you don't want that scar tissue. Because if the scar tissue forms, it undoes the surgery, and it's just...
Aria, she can't jump on and off the bed. She can't go down the stairs. Is she back to like running and playing?
Yeah, she runs and plays, but if she overdoes it, she gets exhausted and then she gets episodes of SM.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we're having a big weekend this weekend in New York, and I've been really cautious, and I've been carrying her around a lot just to make sure she's not getting overwhelmed. And at the meetup, I might carry her for a bit. So we're almost a year away from the anniversary of her surgery.
Oh my gosh.
Now she has these like little wispies that are starting to like come on the top of her head, and she never had that before.
If you didn't have insurance, how much would that surgery cost?
So the MRIs in our area where we lived would have been $2,500. You have to do a pre-op for the diagnosis, and then you do a post-op MRI. And for the rest of her life, she'll have to probably do MRIs every 2 years. Okay. And the surgery was $7,000. Oh, wow. So you're looking at a lot.
A lot of money.
Yeah, so thank you, Trupanion.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I've never had, I've been on Trupanion for a while, but I've never had to do a claim. But stories like this makes me really, really thankful that I have insurance in case something happens.
They've been so awesome.
That's good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And they never question anything. Just
really.
They see the notes. Okay, we'll cover it. Don't worry. I called them the night before the surgery, panicking. Like, don't worry. We'll take care of it.
That's
really
amazing.
Great. Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys are considering insurance, which we highly recommend, we'll leave a link for Trupanion because we're both on Trupanion and we really are super thankful for them.
I am so thankful. I went back and forth and I almost didn't do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, I'll just have a separate savings account in case.
But oh my god, can you imagine if you did not have the insurance? It's so much money.
I don't know what I would have done.
Like, it's kind of awful to think about not doing it, but at the same time, like you're single and you're just alone, paying thousands of dollars like that each time is insane. So did you notice that it helped her?
Yes. So right away she was better. I mean, she showed signs that were so much better. Before the surgery, she would have symptoms of SM all day, throughout the day, multiple times. She would yelp in pain daily, which when she's having a really bad flare-up, that's her one that I know she's really not feeling well if she yelps. And after, it went to maybe once a week, really slowed down. And she was doing really well for quite some time. And then the past couple of months, she started going downhill again and having some really bad flare-ups. And we increased her gabapentin dose, and now she's doing a lot better.
After the surgery, were you even on gabapentin?
After the surgery, she was on a lot of medicine for about a month. She was on tramadol and gabapentin and trazodone. I mean, lots, the whole, it was a thing.
A cocktail.
Yeah. You just time it with food, and it was not fun. And then we weaned her off those, and then she was only on gabapentin, a really low dose as needed. And she went that way for a really long time, and it's just been recently, she was having flare-ups, and then it became as needed was every day, and then it wasn't enough. And then, so finding the right balance of medications to manage their pain is really important, whether or not you do the surgery. And
so what is she on right now? She's on gabapentin?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And?
So she's on, I'm a big advocate for CBD oil. A lot of,
really?
Yes, a lot of Cavaliers are on it. And I think part of the reason she's on a really low dose, actually, her gabapentin dose is very low. I know she's small, but when compared to the other SM dogs I've talked to, her dose is very low, and I attribute it to the CBD oil. 100%.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you use it daily?
I use it daily, twice a day, and she's on, we talk in the group about how much everyone's on, and Aria is the resident pothead. Her and Jack the Cav are the resident potheads. They're on a very high dose compared to the other ones are like, oh, we do 2 drops or 3 drops. I'm like, 3 drops? I do half a dropper.
Really?
Like, yeah, she takes a lot.
So that helps with pain, or
it helps with pain, anxiety, inflammation, all sorts of things, and she has all of those.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I really notice it
because a lot of people ask me about CBD, and like I'm approached almost every day by like CBD treat companies and stuff. But Herky and Milton, they don't have any issues that I'm trying to fix. So like full transparency, I do not give them anything CBD because they don't have an issue. So I'm not just going to give them CBD.
Right, of course.
So in my opinion, I don't have any opinion basically on CBD. I don't know if it works. I don't know what it's for. I don't know if it's necessary in which case. But there's an example of somebody that uses CBD and it works for you.
A lot of SM dogs are big advocates for CBD, and Prilosec there's research that shows that Prilosec helps or doesn't help. I mean, the research right now is kind of, we don't really know if it does anything, and that's omeprazole. It's used for acid reflux, but it changes, I can't remember if it decreases or increases the cerebrospinal fluid.
Okay.
And so that's why it could help SM.
Okay.
And Aria has some regurgitation issues, so she would be on it anyway. And so just kind of, why get her off of it if it might be helping? So she's on that, and then the gabapentin.
And do you use the pill pockets, or how do you...
It's so hard to get her to take the pills sometimes, but what I found that works is marshmallows. I put them in the mini marshmallows, and she loves them.
That's so funny.
I know. She loves them.
What? Because I always like struggle with them whenever I have to give them medication, and I have no idea.
She gobbles them down. Like, she'll just swallow them whole. It's amazing.
The funniest thing
she loves them. She loves them.
So that's a trick. If you want to give pills to your dogs, buy mini marshmallows. I love it. That's adorable. So what do you think is going to be like the next step, really, like in Aria's situation with her SM and everything? Like, are you guys just on management? Are you considering like more surgeries? Like, what's going to happen?
So with the surgery, they say that you can see improvement a year. It could take a year afterwards to see full improvement. So we're kind of waiting. And with the surgery, there's no promises that it'll work. It kind of depends on your surgeon and their track record and how good they are. What Dr. Tallarico told me is, she said, this could do nothing. This could help her. This could just make her SM stay the same and not get worse. And with her, I had her post-op MRI, instead of at a year out, I did it 6 months out because we moved. And at that time, they saw minor improvement.
Basically, when you have a dog with SM, you start really understanding the symptoms.
Yes, for sure.
And being in the SM group, do you notice that a lot of people have like different symptoms or different alerts that they look for?
For sure. Okay. There's this one dog that they don't feel pain from SM, but this dog only has ataxia in the back legs, like really bad. This strange thing I've been hearing happen, but it hasn't happened to Aria yet, that they'll have these moments where their back legs just give out. And it's really scary. And I was worried because hers was so bad, like especially in her lower back. I was worried that she would get paralyzed with time. But the neurologists say that that doesn't happen.
Okay. If somebody decides not to operate their dog for SM, what are their options?
Pain management. That's really what it is.
All you can do, right?
Yeah, pain management, just being careful and knowing your dog's signs and not exposing them to triggers, which with the weather it's kind of hard, but sometimes you can.
And usually with SM, does it always get worse with time, or is it possible that it stays the same? Like
it's different. From my understanding, it's different for all dogs. It could just stay the same. They could develop it at any time in their life. They could have a mild case that stays the same forever. It could stay the same for a long time and then get worse, or get worse and plateau. It can really be anything.
Okay.
But from what I've read and what I understand, the dogs that are diagnosed younger are usually the more severe ones.
Of course, because it's going to flare up when they're younger, so it's more severe and everything. Okay. And so if we want to avoid this, what can you do? Like, we know that it's genetic malformation in Cavaliers, but it's not only Cavaliers. Like, humans can have it. What other breed?
Chihuahuas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, small dogs. I think some Frenchies. Okay. Just really, usually the small dogs.
Okay. Is it more frequent in Cavaliers?
Oh, yes. It's very prevalent. There's a really high percentage of Cavaliers that have Chiari malformation. It's very high. I want to say it's like 75% or 95%. It's really high, somewhere around there. So most Cavaliers have a Chiari malformation, but not all of them have SM, which would be the clinical signs.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. And this would usually happen because humans bred the dog in order for them to have a certain look.
Yeah, the small head and the big eyes. And
is that it?
Yeah. It's okay, baby. It's okay.
So she's just like chewing the inside of her leg?
It happens sudden. Yeah.
Does it wake you up at night?
Oh yeah, she'll get up in the middle of the night and sometimes pace. She'll pace around up and down and up and down. I got stairs because of the pacing. Yeah. I got like doggy stairs on the bed, and she'll go up and down and wander around the house, up and down, and then of course I can't sleep because I'm worried about her.
For sure.
You okay, honey? I know.
Is there a specific spot that she chews on usually?
Lately she's really been into her legs. She's like inside her leg right here. Must be a joint. So just on her, and then it's like maybe. Yeah.
But then again, you see, this is the kind of thing that Herky and Milton do too.
Yeah, see, that's like, the other thing.
Because I've been talking to Jessica a lot about like these random symptoms, and she's like, if they do this, if they do that. But I'm like, they're also dog behaviors.
I know. And
so
I'm not sure. She's never had allergies, but I wonder if maybe some of her like increase in nibbling now is
due to allergies.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because of the change of season.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah. So it could be that. It could, like the random kicking, it happens to us too.
Oh, it does?
It does. Like at night, like they're just sleeping. Like it doesn't happen like a lot.
It's just once.
But like they kick sometimes, and then they go back to sleep or like. Yeah. But so I don't really know. Like, of course I'm going to be super paranoid because.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I tend to have that effect on people like that, and I feel really bad. I'm trying to spread awareness, not paranoia.
It comes with. Honestly, it comes with. Like, I'd rather have.
You okay?
Okay, girl.
Yeah.
Good girl.
You okay, baby?
That hurts, huh, baby? So does that...
That was probably, yeah.
That's really scary, actually.
Because she's so piercing.
And I think what actually hurts...
See, now see her eyes. You can see her eyes.
Yeah. Like, she looks spacey a bit.
But look, she looks them.
I think what hurts the most is because she's so small and she's so tight. Yeah. So when she looks tired...
But I know she slept a lot. Like, she just took a nap. She slept really well last night. We talk about this a lot in the Warriors group. What do you do when they're having moments?
Yeah.
We want to be there for them. We want to be on them.
Like, are you supposed to stop them from doing it, or are you supposed to just let her do it?
It depends on the dog. Some dogs want to be alone and don't want to be touched. Aria tends to want me to be there, but maybe not on her. Okay. It depends how bad it is. But sometimes, like when she does the kick thing, I'll hold her leg, because sometimes that'll calm her down, and eventually I feel like she stops faster.
Is it like intense, the kicking?
Like, it's so hard. Like, she kicks it so hard. I never see her kick her leg that hard any other time.
Like, she kicks like
boom, really
constant,
hard.
Like often.
Several times. She'll go like boom, boom. Like, it may be like 10 times.
So it's quite something that you're dealing with Aria on the daily. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It's really intense.
She's getting better, you know.
Good.
And we have to be strong for them, you know.
For sure.
And I'm just glad that I found her, because we're a good match, and I noticed early, you know.
That's really good, because some people would not even find it, and they would just be like, you know, there's my dog licking themselves again.
Yeah.
There's my dog like nibbling their leg and stuff like that. So it's good that you actually went through it and everything. So did you report to your breeder what happened to Aria?
I did. I was worried about the brain thing and the heart thing when I was looking at Cavaliers. So I researched the breeders a lot, and I looked on the AKC website for the breeders who had the health, kind of merit health. My breeder was fabulous. She was really sweet, and all the dogs were heart clear. Her parents were heart clear, but she hadn't MRI'd the dogs. But in 20 years of breeding, she'd only had one puppy that had SM. Okay. So I thought, okay, my chances are good, you know. Yeah. And I wonder if part of it's because Aria is a really small Cavalier. She's a runt. Both of her parents were around 16 pounds, so they were...
So all her litter mates are like normal size.
Oh, yeah.
And it's only her that's like tiny.
8.5 pounds, yeah. So I wonder if that's part of it. It's just,
it could be.
She's a petite girl and maybe
for sure.
that...
Like, but her head is tiny.
Really?
I think her head is actually really small, like not to like scare you or anything. Like she's just a small dog in general. So I feel like that has to do a lot with it too. Like her head is smaller, so higher chances of her brain squishing and stuff.
Right, yeah. But when I told my breeder, she was so upset. I mean, because they're her babies. You know, these are her babies. She was really upset, and she wanted to know everything. I filled her in the whole journey. Her mom, that was the last litter she had, so she wasn't going to be bred again anyway, which is what it should be. That's really comforting. What should happen is you notify the breeders and they say, okay, there was SM, we don't breed those dogs anymore.
So the male and the female, basically.
I feel like that's often what happens.
Yeah.
But what I would like to encourage breeders to MRI their dogs before breeding them, but it's hard because it's so expensive.
But that's why usually responsible breeders will do all those testings and the MRI too, right? But that's going to cost like so much, and that's why the cost of the puppy is going to be very expensive. And that's what people ask me to, like, where can I find a cheap Cavalier?
Risky.
Risky. Like, there's no such thing if you want like a healthy Cavalier, honestly. And now I'm starting to understand like more and more why there's this cost associated with the dog, because the health tests are so expensive. As you mentioned, an MRI is $2,500. Yeah. When you want to go get a puppy, I mean, it seems like you almost went through like textbook everything for a puppy. You went to AKC website, health recommended, all the health tests, no MRI though.
Right.
So what do you think people should look for?
I would ask about the health issues a lot. I think I was so excited to get a puppy.
For sure.
I loved my breeder. Like, she has a whole room. All the dogs live in her house. She has this whole room where each dog has their own crate. I mean, it was amazing.
God, that's cute.
Yeah. So know the puppies are from a good place. They're being loved and not like a backyard breeder or, you know. Ask about health and don't be shy about it. Yeah. It's hard because I feel like with breeders, these are their babies.
For sure.
And so it's hard to approach in a way where they might not they feel attacked or whatnot.
Yeah.
So
just people are excited too, as you mentioned. Like, I was super excited. Like, I skipped over a lot of things too, honestly. And you just want a puppy like as soon as possible.
Yes.
Right? So you skip a lot of things and you don't want to offend the breeder and you don't want to make them upset and stuff.
Right. But ask to see those health clearances and don't just ask, you know, have you ever had puppies in your litter that you're aware of that have SM? Do you MRI your dogs? Are they heart clear? What age was the dog?
So if somebody now is suspecting that their dog has SM or anything, do you have anything, or do you have like favorite websites or resources where people can read or like find more information?
Yeah, cavalierhealth.org is amazing. They have so much information, probably more than you want to read. It's very overwhelming. It takes a long time to sift through, but they are always posting like all the latest research studies. And please, I would encourage everyone to donate if you feel inspired to donate to the Cavalier Health Fund. And they have it right on their website, and you can even say for SM research for calves, you can like, they'll earmark it. There's a current study that they're saving money for it. That would be pretty amazing. I'm not allowed to share all the details, but it sounds pretty awesome, and they definitely need help.
So, that's awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. I really admire also all the efforts you're doing on Instagram. You're doing a lot of giveaways and a lot of spreading a lot of awareness about SM, because people don't usually know about it. And so that's really good that you're doing a lot for syringomyelia. So
thank you.
I really appreciate everything you're doing.
Thanks. I hope it helps.
For sure. So if you guys have any other questions, I think Jessica is also a subscriber, so she always looks at the comments. Yeah. So, I love it. So if you have any questions for her, you can leave them down below, and I'm sure she'll go through the comments and answer everything for you.
Yep. And you can feel free to DM me on Instagram if you're worried about your dog.
Pup named Aria. I'll leave her link right here and also in the description box below, so you can check her out. And if you have any concerns about that, you can join one of her groups. She's always there. Every time somebody messages me about SM, I always refer to Jessica all the time. All that information is there for you. So I hope this video was helpful. Thank you guys so much for coming on our channel.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
We're so happy to be here.
We're super happy to have you. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up this video, ring the bell, and until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye.